So in this video we are going to talk about something called value comparison operators, or more specifically uh, equals versus Object.is function, right? What does this mean? So when I say something like, if I say is 4 equals to 5, right? Obviously we know that that's false, right? If I say is 4 equals 4, we know that's true, right? If I say is 2 plus 2 equals 4, right? We know that's true as well. But what if I say is 4 equals to quote unquote 4, right? Now this, like, from a human perspective, you would think that, hey, it's still 4, right? Like, doesn't matter whether it's within quotes or unquotes. But in terms of a JavaScript language, or like a language, coding language in particular, this would mean quite different things, right? 4 is a number data type, and 4 under quotes is a string data type. So how do you define exactly that, hey, what equality means, right? So can you write, or can you differentiate between these in a way? So something like, if I say console.log, if I say 4 equals 4, right? Let's try that. So it's true, right? It returns the value true, so we are good, right? If I say 4 quote unquote 4, right, it's still true. But and here's the important but, if I say something like 4 equals 4, right, so it'll return it as false. Why? Because 4 here is a number data type and 4 here is a string data type. So equals is doing a hard equality check between not just the value but also the data type, right? So what if I do something a bit more complicated? I say that let A equals 0, let B equals -0, and technically it doesn't mean anything, but console.log, I will first check A equals B. So it returns it as true. What if I do A equals? It still returns true, right? No issues there. What if I do something like A dot object is B? Actually this is supposed to be object dot is A comma B. It'll return it as false, because for Object.is it has to be a hard equals, not just data types but also the values, right? And the values are not matching here. When you say -0, it could be on the negative spectrum of anything, but 0 is a positive spectrum of something, right? So if I do it as -0 as well here, so it will return it as true, right? Now like, there are certain nuances to this. If I say something like null comma null, right, it will still return true. But if I say null and 0, it will say false. What if we are doing a check between something like a quote unquote which has nothing and 0, right? If I do quote unquote nothing with 0, it will say it's true. But if I say equals equals equals, it will say it's false. In fact, if I do a Object.is and I do quote unquote nothing with 0 and I remove this, it should say false. It's false, right? So it has to be very strict matching in case of Object.is and equals equals equals, not with equals. So let me comment that out here. Equals equals loosely matches value and converts the data type to check. But equals 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 matches both value and data type. In fact, Object.is also checks value and data type. So where does it differ? What is the difference between triple equals and Object.is? What if I say it's 0 and I say plus 0, right? Technically it's the same thing, right? 0 is also on the positive side and plus 0 also on the positive side. Does that mean there's a difference? So let's say a comma b, right? It says true, right? So what if I do a equals equals b? Actually I'll remove this. A equals equals b, don't need another bracket. It also says true. So what is exactly the difference, right? So if I go and check for something like, you know, difference between triple equals and Object.is, there should be a MDN doc somewhere, but anyway, let's see. In equals equals equals, plus 0 and minus 0 will return true, but in Object.is it won't, right? Let's check that. So if I say this is minus 0 and I am doing triple equals b, it says true. If I do Object.is a comma b, it will return false because plus 0 is on the different side, minus 0 is on the different side of the number line. So Object.is is also checking value, data type, and what do you call it? What do you call a plus 0? It corrects NaN and sin 0 behavior. So it also checks signed behavior. Alright, so that's the difference between these three: equals equals, triple equals, and Object.is. So yeah, hope you kind of understood this and I was able to explain it well. In the next video I want to go through loose equality and what are other kinds of comparisons that we can do, because these nuances might become important when we are working with something on the limits of things, right? So see you in the next video. Bye bye.